My name's James and I paint minis.
This is Spoontastic Minis. In this video, I'm going to be testing out some acrylic inks from Liquitex and how they might be used for painting miniatures. This is the Essentials set that contains 3 primary coloured inks that you see here, as well as a brown one called Umber, an opaque white, and an opaque black. Now you'll find they do separate out. There's quite clearly powder at the bottom of this one, so the powder pigment actually separates out very readily, but a quick shake actually fixes the problem quite quickly. The lids might look a little bit strange until you realise that each lid contains its own pipette, so you can actually dispense the exact amount you need onto the palette by sucking some up with the pipette and dispensing it like so. Some of the inks seem to separate more readily than others. I noticed the red and the brown inks and the yellow seem to separate very readily, whereas the others seem to remain mixed for longer. Dispensing some of the ink onto the palette. I was quite surprised to see this looks surprisingly opaque on the palette, given that I've just put it on top of some dry black primer. Otherwise it works just like a paint, goes straight on the brush. Now you may have seen this footage in some of my shorts. I actually recorded it on both cameras at the same time, but I'm just painting it over a base painted with white, grey and black primers, so that you can see that obviously it has slightly different coverage according to what colour it's going over. I'm going to show you 2 coats of each ink fairly rapidly on these 3 colours. This red ink looks a little bit weak. I'm not sure it was quite as well mixed as it should have been. I'll have to shake it up more next time. By contrast, the blue ink is incredibly strong, as you can see. Much like the red, and I'm sure for largely the same reasons, the brown isn't such a strong coverage. I suspect again I may need to shake it up a little more next time. Now for the really interesting bit. I'm surprised to find some of these inks are labelled as opaque, but sure enough the white and black inks are at least partially opaque. Now, just as before, I'm going to give these some time to dry and then paint a second coat only on the right side of the base so that you can see the difference between 1 and 2 coats. Inks are usually interesting in this regard because the transparent ones at least build up in layers. I'm hoping you can see here that the yellow is greatly intensified regardless of which colour it's being painted over, but is most effective over the white and grey. And the red here, as you can see, I've shaken it up more this time and it is a much stronger colour. Now the blue was so strong to begin with, I was actually quite surprised to find it does actually both darken and intensify in colour as you paint over it. And much like the red, the brown was much better when it's shaken up more, but again seems most effective over black, strangely enough. And the white and black inks seem pretty much as you would expect from a white or black paint, to be honest with you, only they are intensely pigmented. Right, that's pretty much that. I'm going to show you a picture of all of them together once they were dry to see what they look like with 1 and 2 coats. And then, in case you're interested, how do they compare with regular mini paints? Well, I have a base that I painted for the yellow Space Marine video with Army Painted Demonic Yellow, and that's it versus ink.
Right, if you've watched this far, firstly thank you for watching. If you did like it, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell-shaped icon so that you know when the next video will be coming out. I'm hoping to keep a release schedule of about 2 videos a month.